guys, it is April from Getting Huggy With It. I am here to do round 2, part 2 of my October book haul. Let's get into it. So the first book that I got, I can't even tell you how excited I was that I found this specific edition of East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I haven't read John Steinbeck in years. I know that I like John Steinbeck, but it's literally been, I think, over 20 years, which is wrong. And I mean, I've heard so many wonderful things about East of Eden. It's like this epic story that I know that I'm meant to read, and I knew that I wanted to read it in this specific edition. It is so beautiful, and it has deckled edges. I don't usually like deckled edges, but for this book, I want there to be deckled edges. Is anyone weirdly picky that way? I am. So this is about two families, the Hamiltons and the Trasks, and it's about how those families interweave. There's a lot of tragedy in this book. One of these families has two twin boys. One of the boys thrives in life and the other one grows up really in loneliness. And it's about the family drama of these two families, and I'm just so excited to get into this. Yeah. Yay! I also picked up A Man Called Ove, and I know I'm saying that wrong. Ove. Uwe, I have no idea. But we all know the main story of this is about a very, very, very grumpy old man, and a family moves in next door, and he doesn't like that until he gets to know them, and apparently they change his life and his demeanor, and I'm really looking forward to this. I feel like everyone who's read this has loved it, and that means that I'll probably love it too. So also really excited to read a Fredrik Backman for the first time. Robin over at the Driftless Reader really seems to enjoy Fredrik Backman, so that gives me hope that I'm going to love him too. I also picked up Dismantled by Jennifer McMahon. Now she wrote The Winter People, and I really love the way that this woman tells a story. It is very dark, and this is a thriller. You know I love a good thriller. So this book is about a group of friends in college, and they have this like little club called the Compassionate Dismantlers, and the first rule in their manifesto is to understand the nature of a thing, it must be taken apart. However, that leads to the death of one of them. Suze apparently dies, and we follow that storyline, and then the storyline a decade later when two of these people in this little group have just like decided to move on with their lives. They just want to get beyond this death that has haunted them. However, a mysterious dismantler style postcard drives a past prank victim to suicide, and it sets off a chain of terrifying events that threatens to tear apart their world. And it also engulfs their 9-year-old daughter, Emma. Like, it already sounded good, and then you throw a child into the mix and you're like, what is going to happen? It sounds great. I think Jennifer McMahon is a fabulous author, so very happy to have this. I also picked up China Dolls by Lisa C. This sounds really cool. I have a lot of Lisa C's books on my shelves. I have not read any of them yet, and I really need to get on that because I know I'm going to like her. And this follows, I think it's 3 or 4 women in San Francisco in 1938. These women meet at this exclusive underground club, and they become fast friends, and they have a lot of secrets. And apparently after the Japanese attack of Pearl Harbor, paranoia and suspicion threaten to destroy their lives, and a shocking act of betrayal changes everything. And I want to know what it was. I just want to know. I was also so excited that I was able to get more of the Linda Castillo Kate Burkholder series. So I got books 2, 3, and 4. I think now I'm only missing number 5, and that's a good thing. So I can just jump into it. And this series is a detective series that Rachel over at the Shades of Orange and Julie over at A Girl in a Book have adored. Now, frankly, I will probably be reading this via audiobook because both of them seem to love the audiobook so much. But you know me, I like to have these copies because I saw them for like $3. Like, how could I not? This next book sounds brilliant. It's called The Secrets of Mary Bozer. This follows a woman who's been a slave to the Van Lew family of Richmond, Virginia, all of her life. And when the daughter of the family decides that Mary should go and get an education in Philadelphia, Mary has this opportunity to change her life, and she goes to the north and she meets all sorts of friends, and she fast becomes involved in the abolition movement. And that leads her to become a slave. She poses as a slave in the Confederate White House in order to spy on President Jefferson Davis. And it follows what happened to her there. And that just sounds so insanely brilliant. I'm just so excited about this. I haven't been excited about a book like this in a long time. So I just can't wait. Have you guys read this? Has anybody read this? Because I would love to know what you think. Just sounds awesome. I also picked up The Life We Bury by Alan Eskens, and I think this is going to be a really sad book. I've heard that it's meant to be suspenseful, but also kind of it's gonna bring you down a little bit. It is about a college student who's writing this assignment in English class, and he's tasked to interview a stranger for this English class, and he's meant to write like a little biography about them. So he goes to a nursing home and he meets Carl Iverson there, and he is a dying Vietnam veteran, and he's also a convicted murderer. So this man only has a few months left in his life, and he begins to learn about this man, and he wants to get to know what happened and get to the bottom of this murder and this life before this man dies. So he's on a deadline, and he doesn't know what that deadline's going to be. It just sounds really good and really sad. Does anyone feel sad just thinking about this book? Because I do. So I'll read that at some point. Okay, so this next one is, I should just say what it is. It's Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. So before we moved into our townhouse, I decided I was going to do an amazing job at getting rid of all of the books that didn't bring me joy. I did the whole spark joy, like Marie Kondo. I condoed the hell out of my books. And honestly, it was a really good experience, except for the fact that I got rid of Jane Eyre. Why did I do that? I don't know why I did that. Now, I know that in university I had to read this a few times, and there was something about it that just I didn't want to read. It just wasn't my vibe at the time. But I really think that it is now, and so I'm very, very happy to have found this. It's also a floppy version, so I found it secondhand for $1, and I was just so happy to have it on my shelves again. So yeah, Jane Eyre. I also picked up The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I'm taking a chance on Ruth Ware because I despised In a Dark, Dark Wood. I'm telling you, I hated that book so damn much, I didn't like it. So this is a gamble, but this sounds really cool. It's about a woman who's on this cruise ship, and one night she hears some woman, I think, crying or calling out, and she peeks outside her door and she sees that woman being tossed over the ship, and she's like, oh my gosh, what just happened? And the next morning she tells everyone like what happened to the woman in cabin 10, and they're like, there was no woman in cabin 10. and she knows that she saw someone, so I'm eager to find out who the woman in cabin 10 is. I'm just a bit worried that it's going to be one of those things where they're like, she's not a very reliable narrator. There's so many unreliable narrator books that I'm kind of over that whole trope, so I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have enjoyed this one the most out of all of Ruth Ware, so I'm gonna give it a chance. And I got it for like $4 at a library book sale, so yes. I also picked up Gobs Grief by Chris Adrian. Now, I do not know what YouTube channel I was watching, but they went on and on about how brilliant this book was, and I wish I could remember who it was, but I saw this and picked it up because of them. So this follows the fictional twin sons of real Victoria Woodhull, the 19th century proto-feminist. In August of 1863, Tomo, one of the twins, who is 11 years old, runs off to the Civil War and dies in his first battle. At 11 years old? Gob, the other twin, grows up in a profound state of grief, and by the time he's an adult studying to be a doctor in New York City, he has begun to make real a dream to build a machine that might bring Tomo, indeed, all the war dead, back to life. That's got a little Frankenstein element there, doesn't it? Just sounds neat and interesting and weird. Okay, so this next one I picked up because Simon of Savage Reads really likes Sophie Hannah. So I picked up Kind of Cruel. Now, I am jumping into part of a detective series in this, but this follows Amber Hewerdine. And she suffered from chronic insomnia since her best friend's tragic death. And so she goes to a hypnotherapist to kind of sort it out and see if she can ever sleep again. She's put under hypnosis, and Amber hears herself saying, "Kind, cruel, kind of cruel." And the words wake her up to this like vague memory that she has, but she doesn't fully understand. And then 2 hours later, Amber is arrested for the brutal murder of a woman she's never heard of, and the only way she can clear her name is by remembering exactly where she's seen those words before. It sounds interesting. And I just want to try out Sophie Hannah because Simon just loves her so much that I thought I would give her a go. And then finally, I picked up Jamie Ford's Songs of Willow Frost. Now, Jamie Ford wrote Hotel on the Corner of Bitter and Sweet. And this is the story of 12-year-old William Ang, a Chinese-American boy, and he lived at Seattle Sacred Heart Orphanage ever since his mother's listless body was carried away from their small apartment 5 years ago. And then on his birthday, William and the other orphans are taken to the historical Moore Theater, where he sees an actress on the silver screen who goes by the name of Willow Frost. And he's convinced that this Willow Frost is his mother. So he sets out basically on a journey after that to find Willow Frost and prove that his mother is still alive. It sounds really heart-wrenching because I just feel like she's not his mother. And I'm already sad for him to find that out, even though I haven't really known him at all yet. But I just feel like that's going to end really badly. Okay, so those were all of the books that I bought in October. I feel like I did really well. I'm very excited about so many of these books. Let me know if you've read any of those books on the list. I'd love to know what you thought of them, or if you're really excited about any of those books on the list. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. So I will see you next time for another video. Bye!